Oh, I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Oh boy, that right there, that's another Reeve. I'm Rich.
And I'm Josh.
Make sure your Walkman is at full battery because we're diving into our dad tapes.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to tape number 11 of the Dad Tapes. Let's get it rolling. What are we drinking tonight?
Tonight, we are revisiting some Cape May Brewing Company. We are a bit behind on Cinco de Mayo. Let's just be honest on that one. But we're catching up here slowly. We are drinking a Mexican style lager with sea salt and lime. It's pretty tasty. It tastes just like a Corona. Yep. You said it tastes just like a Corona. Once you pop that lime in there, tilt that bad boy upside down, let that lime float to the bottom. It's tasty. It's a pretty light beer too. It's 4.5%. Not sure what the IBUs are, but it's pretty tasty, man. What's your opinion on it?
I enjoy it. I think it's really refreshing. I mean, when I'm drinking this, I picture myself, sitting on a lawnmower with it, kind of like I would with a Corona. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or on a beach.
Oh, I was going to say on the beach.
Definitely, I would definitely take this on
a July 4th party.
Yeah.
Hey, better prep yourselves up for that one.
No, it's pretty good. I like the bite of the lime. I love lime.
It's not overwhelming.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I'm not a big citrusy beer type of person. Like the sour IPAs or sour ales or any type of citrusy, I'm not too big on. It really depends on how well it complements it, and this does not overwhelm it. It's a very subtle lime flavor to it, so I really enjoy it.
It's like putting an extra one or two extra limes in your Corona.
Yeah, it's just enough.
Yeah, it's good. So how's your week been?
Oh, man, coming into tonight, I think I thought to myself that I had something important to talk about, but honestly, I can't even remember what the hell it was, so I guess it wasn't too important, man. Yeah, shame on me for that one. It's been, a pretty adequate week trying to get back into the swing of things. Like I said last week, Jill's at the new job, so she's getting more and more clients, and it's just a really flexing schedule type of thing. Yeah. It's tough, but you got to do what you got to do, And then I will say this week's been easier than last week.
Yeah.
The gremlins have not been such gremlins. I mean, energetic galore. You saw them today, man. That energy, since you walked into the door, it was like, not even exaggerating. You were picking up both kids at one time, and I swear you were starting to get winded, and you're like, okay, one more time. You were sucking air over there, and it's just like these kids.
That's usually what happens when you breathe. You suck air.
Well, you were really sucking air then. He was like a fish out of water. But yeah, it's fuck it, that's what it does. Yeah, ain't you a wise guy? But yeah, man, it's been a pretty mundane week. Nothing special, Trying to prep for the weekend, deciding on where we're gonna go, if we're gonna do anything at all, because you know what it's like with traffic.
Yeah, definitely.
And speaking of the weekend, how's your week? Because I know you got to work on Saturday, don't you?
Yeah, it's only a half day though.
Okay.
So I'm not too worried about it. I mean, I kind of don't really even, in a sense, feel like I'm working on a Saturday because of it being a half day.
Okay. I mean, other than the fact that it's a Saturday and it's on the weekend.
Yeah. I mean,
a busy weekend at that.
It's gonna be nice though because I get an actual full-on weekend this weekend because I have Monday off. So
Okay.
Sweet,
all right.
but
that's not bad then.
I mean, other than that, I mean, my week was actually pretty good.
Did you try any new food this week?
Food, yeah, actually.
What'd you eat?
We ended up going out to the
who's we? Can we say who we is yet?
I don't know if I want to talk about that yet.
All right. I respect the boundaries.
But we went out to McCormick and Schmick's in Atlantic City at the Harris Hotel and Casino.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm a big fish guy. Love fucking fish.
Well,
I had Chilean.
I do too. I'm a pescatarian. So yeah.
But I had Chilean sea bass for the first time.
Really, the first time?
Yeah, first time. The shit was really.
And what'd
good.
you think of it?
Dude, it was really good. I mean, it was honestly, in my opinion, it was like, I'm a big flounder guy, but in my opinion, flounder's kind of more. I don't know how to explain it. Like maybe, like I guess stringy. I don't know. Like this was more or less like melt in your mouth.
Yeah, bass is more flaky. Flounder is a smaller fillet to begin with. I mean, bass is chunkier typically. But not only that, I mean, not for nothing, most people, especially if flounder is one of your favorite fish, most people stray away from fishier fish like monkfish or, swordfish or bass. Yeah. So I'm glad you liked it, man. I'm glad you're expanding your, your horizon, appetite for fish,
Oh man, I mean, other than that, I mean, it went by pretty fast, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, nothing crazy happened or anything. I mean, typical work, but we're not as busy as we were before, so it's slowing down a lot.
Really?
Yeah, because like all the contractors have already like come in and did everything already, and got it done and out of the way. So, but other than that, it was a pretty chill week.
Okay. So, all right. Can't complain about that then.
No, not at all. You know what time it is?
No. I think it's about 9:30.
No. It's that time to be prepared, dads.
See, I was not prepared. I was not ready for that statement. So, yeah, let me get my book. So it is that time. It's time for us to be prepared, dads, with our practical handbook for new dads. Tonight, we're going to be reading about resuming a sex life. Emphasis on the question mark, because sometimes you just don't know if it's ever going to happen again, right, Josh?
Yeah, right.
So the book kind of, leads off with before you start panicking about your sex life or lack thereof after the baby arrives, consider the following. In a recent study published in the Journal of Family Practice, at least 50%, 1 in 2, couples polled had resumed sex at around 2 months, and more than 90% of couples had hooked up by the 4-month mark. So if you're not having intimacy after the 4-month mark, there could be some deeper things there, and you may want to investigate that, Josh.
I ain't got to worry about it now. But.
So you could pretty well assume that you'll be back in business by day 120. Yeah. So you better count down the days. Yeah. With heartfelt condolences going out to the other 10%. So it kind of explains, one of the things in this chapter is why your partner may be giving you the cold shoulder. It gives about 4 bulletin points just for this section alone. Not going to read all the bulletin points through and through, but the first bulletin point is her hormones are suppressing her sex drive, making sure she cares for this baby instead of creating a new one. Which is probably a good thing. God. Unless you're looking for some Irish twins that you want to set yourself up with in the future. I don't think you should, for those who do, bless your heart, but not for me. Sorry. Her body's just pulled off a Houdini-like feat and is healing, and that's the freaking truth. She's most likely been sucked, kneaded, pawed, and screamed at all day, and she may not want to be sucked, kneaded, pawed, or screamed at by anyone else for a while. I don't know about the screaming. I guess if you're into it, but she doesn't fit into her clothes anymore. We all know what that's like. That's a defeating feeling. Male, female. So the next thing it says is re-greasing the wheels. I think that's a good analogy.
It is a very good analogy, actually.
Because you got to grease that thing up sometimes when you're going back at it after months, clearly. Sometimes 4 months. The prepared dad knows that foreplay doesn't begin in the bedroom and doesn't begin right before sex. We all know
it takes all day.
It's a day-long process. You got to get
the foot rubs in.
Exactly. If you don't set the mood, you're not going to be getting in the mood at the end of the day. As soon as possible, set aside 1 night a week where you and your partner can be baby-free, even for just an hour or two. Do some fun things like go bowling, play pool, see a movie, anything to just spend some time together. Humor is a great aphrodisiac. You know, they say if you can make a girl laugh in the first 5 seconds of meeting her, you got that in the bag.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Jill laughed within the first 5 seconds, and now she's my wife. So that's all I'm saying. Surprise her by writing notes on the baby's diaper with a Sharpie, or making sure that she'll be the next one to change them, and see that stuff. And not your mother-in-law. She doesn't need to see that stuff, especially if it's crude.
One hot mama.
Drop subtle hints. We're guys. We're always going to do that anyway. So there's not going to be a shortage of them. That's for sure. If you happen to be nearing that breaking point where you gotta, you're a dog at the end of the day, if you're nearing that breaking point, you may want to ask her if she's willing to do anything at all to help you overcome your frustrations. We got to dig into that one, my guy. And then this all heads up to the big night, which is when she will be ready to unfreeze your membership card.
Ooh.
And let you back into that club.
That's another good analogy.
It's hard to tell, but never assume that today's the day. But always be prepared just in case. And again, I think at the end of the day, that's not hard to do when you're a guy.
No.
You're kind of down for it whenever. You know what I'm saying?
Literally.
So, you want to be prepared. So you want to make sure you're clean shaven. If that's your thing. If not, do your thing. Make sure you're prepared though down there. And make sure you're clean. That's the other thing. Have a designated shoebox where you store your lubricants, condoms, and other agenda and things to set the mood. Massage oils, favorite music, one of our tapes. Alcohol, candles, all that nonsense, just to kind of, woo them a little bit. Never, ever wake your partner for sex. Bad mood. Bad move. Bad move. Don't do it. Don't try to engage in the same room with the baby. I think that's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah,
it is what it is, but 60% of couples eventually do. But the first time back is a little tense, and
listen, there's a difference between like trying to engage with the baby in the room and then dropping those subtle hints. You can drop those subtle hints.
Well,
because
it even says, clearly 60% of people will eventually do it. 60% of couples eventually do it.
Yeah.
With the baby somewhere in the room. But ultimately, that first time back, you don't want the baby in there because it's like, here we go. Like,
it's about to get rough.
Yeah. Yeah, if you playing golf, you hit in the rough right there, so you got to take it slow. You know what I'm saying? Get those commentators to shut up. No matter where you choose to connect, sweep the area for baby toys, as you don't want to roll over mid-session and activate Barney's I Love You song.
Or roll over a dog toy. Here.
Squeaker.
Squeak, 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 squeak.
Time your escapade to coincide with your baby's deepest sleep state. That's kind of important, and it's not, you don't have to wait long. You don't have to wait long. A baby goes to deep, baby sleeps deep quick. So that's our snippet for this week on how to be a prepared dad.
So tonight, our goal, we all have known some parents who aren't keen on the idea of drinking in front of their children, while others don't see the harm in doing it. Knowing the prevalence of alcoholism in our society and the side effects of it, it's not a wonder why individuals carry such a high standard in regard to exposing their own children to watching themselves drink, whether it be copiously or moderately. With some resources we found, we're going to dive into what is and isn't acceptable and discover a balance of enjoyment and overindulgence.
There's that word again, overindulgence. Look at that. Look at that. Who wrote this shit, man?
Oh, I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Oh, boy, that right there, that's another revisit there, boy. So we're going to just segue right into diving into our dumps here. Because at the end of the day, we all when we're taking our dumps, man, we all have to do something. So
7
dumps in a day. You should have put. Why didn't you say that
abnormal.
earlier?
It's fucking abnormal.
You're right. It is a bit abnormal, and I'm sure your asshole probably hurts. And if it doesn't, I have a slew of other questions to ask you.
I'm quite surprised.
I don't know. So for our data dump tonight, there is a study that was published in June of 2020 that provides a longitudinal study consisting over 3 years. So for those not aware, a longitudinal study is a study done over an expansive amount of time.
It's a long term.
Yeah, it is a long term. Yeah, that's it for, it's most researchers are, masters, if not doctorates. So of course they need to use the big fancy words, but essentially it's just a study over a long period of time.
Yeah.
The study aimed to examine if modeling the behavior of drinking influences a child more than not seeing that behavior. The study pointed out that this element has been overlooked in almost all the other studies focused on the same subject and suggests there may be a discrepancy within the results of those reviewed studies. Essentially, they just hypothesized that there could be a difference in parents who drink in front of their kids compared to when parents don't drink in front of their kids and drink at bedtime or, away from them, going out to dinner, leaving the kids at home, etc. However, the findings only reinforced the reviewed studies, stating there is indeed an increased risk despite the lack of physical exposure. I mean, just a sidebar, I think that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how not being exposed to it's going to only continue to reinforce it in the same likelihood.
Yeah.
Furthermore, the increase was documented more in boys seeing their fathers than boys seeing their mothers, or girls seeing their fathers, or girls seeing their mothers. The study mentioned the focused age group started at 10 to 13 and shifted within those 3 years study. Now shifting gears, but remember that age group. There's a survey from the NIAAA, or the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, that provides results that girls between the age of 12 and 17 are more likely to drink than the boys of the same age.
I disagree.
I mean, you could disagree all you want to and have your own opinion about it, but this is a an accredited survey.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that it's an accredited survey. I mean, I guess I can't. I mean, I'm not going to say I disagree, but I mean,
you just did say you disagreed.
I get that, but yeah, I guess my opinion would be that because of the way I grew up and who I hung out with and everything like that, the girls didn't drink as much as the guys did. The guys were the ones that were...
It's not the amount of alcohol consumed. It's more so the amount of people consuming alcohol. The amount of girls consuming alcohol outweigh the amount of boys consuming alcohol between the ages of 12 and 17.
Okay, all right, I understand it now.
With results from both resources and kind of getting to the point where we just discussed there, I think it's a speculatively clear point of these two factors. Boys are more influenced by parents, while girls could potentially be more influenced by society.
Yeah.
So when you would go out and hang out with your friends who, let's just be honest, you probably had a couple girls in your group that, were a year or two younger than you, and that's just how high school is. So those girls are trying to seek out that approval of the older guy because that's just girls mature much quicker than boys.
Well, that as well as it's usually, majority of the time that's what it is. The women go for the older men.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's always that fact, but in the majority of the time, that's what usually happens.
Oh, yeah. What high school girl isn't enamored by
the senior,
senior football quarterback,
exactly.
or the senior best basketball player on a team or something like that? Yeah, of course. Again, that just comes down to puberty and the maturity.
Yeah.
Lastly, based on 2021 to 2022 data, interestingly enough, the higher the income you generate has a direct correlation to drinking alcohol, consuming more alcohol than those who generate less money. which, goes to show money brings you freaking headaches. And what do people use to resolve headaches? Alcohol. And in your ex-fiance's case, meth.
Yeah, right.
Just had to throw that in there. Boom.
Oh, shit.
And that was our data dump.
I know the two of us grew up together. We were very close. More like brothers and cousins, and we had plenty of times where we both hung out and had our fair share of influencing fun. But it was a little bit more restricted than that it is now. How much do you think will change in the near 10 plus years for our children?
That's a good question. I don't really think I have an answer for you. I think it's just going to come down to perception, and I think it's going to be so subjective to each individual. So just speaking from my own point of view and my own experiences and my own aspirations as a parent, as my kids get older, I don't want them to hide drinking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they also need to learn there's going to be limitations. And I also believe in natural consequences. So, if you want to get messed up,
Get them drunk.
if you want to get messed up and really try out alcohol and see what it does to you and your body and your mind,
You
go for
right
it.
ahead.
I'd rather you be safe in our house.
Yeah.
Honestly, have a couple friends over, do your thing. Like, when Dex is that age, it's like, Dex, do your thing, bro. Like, go down there, have some fun, binge out on Xbox. Hey, I don't care. Just be safe. Because tomorrow, we got chores.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we got work to do. You want to binge out on a Friday night? Go for it, my guy.
We're doing yard work on
That's
Saturday
right.
morning.
Don't forget Saturday is cutting grass day, Dex. You better be up and ready.
100-degree weather.
Ooh, I've been there, man. It's not
Sweating
fun.
the alcohol out.
So I absolutely agree in natural consequences, and I'm not opposed to Declan or Bridget both drinking as they get older and they're teens. I've never really digested how early is too early. So I don't know. I'm just gonna have to take it as it comes. I mean, it is what it is. But I think at the end of the day, to kind of answer your question, I have a feeling that our generations are going to be a little bit more inclined to allow our children to drink. But just even looking back on my childhood and growing up with the friends that I had, it wasn't too far off of what I'd be describing for my children.
No, because it wasn't with mine either.
Yeah.
It was,
The only time it was for you is when I lived at the Golden Goose on Columbia Avenue, and your mom never let you over. And you know what? Hindsight, I can't blame her. Hindsight, I can't blame her because the cops were called a couple times and got evicted. So, but I get it. I get it. I understand that one.
Yeah, it's not how it was for me either. I mean, growing up, obviously throughout like the end of middle school and high school and everything, it was, you want to drink, you're going to drink at home. You can invite whoever you want, but I'm going to be like, yeah, keys are mine.
Yep.
And, parents are going to be called, shit like that. But it wasn't like strict about it. I mean, we all agreed. Like we were just trying to have a good time. We were trying to have fun, all hang out.
Yeah, you're not trying to fuck your life up.
No, exactly. I mean, we weren't trying to ruin the fun times that we knew we were going to have because we didn't want to ruin it for our future of having more. And there was plenty more.
Well, that brings up a question for me. What was it like? I mean, the focus is daddy under the influence, and projecting and speculatively speaking, that's where I would like to be. And so I'd like to kind of throw that question back at you, but also, I guess it's a 2-question approach here. What was it like for you with your dad, now knowing this data of the influence fathers have, specifically fathers over their sons? What was it like with your dad drinking? I mean, did he try to hide it from you, or was it kind of like an open thing?
Honestly, it was kind of an open thing. I mean, my dad didn't really drink that much as it was, but when he did, I mean, it wasn't something that he was just going to go hide in a closet and, drink a bottle of Jack or whatever. But it was, he'd have a beer or two, and that was basically it. I mean, I never personally really saw my dad, like, really get under the influence until I got older.
Yeah.
And there really wasn't much of a, I guess basically my influence kind of came from more or less my, I guess like my mom and her friends. But with me getting that influence from them, I knew the rules. Like I knew what was right, what wasn't right, shit like that. And so I always I made sure that I did the things that I should do and not get myself into fucking shit.
Yeah.
But it was a comfortable, I guess, it was a comfortable time. So there really wasn't any ever really any repercussions other than having to clean up my own throw up and shit. But
okay, that's fun.
Yeah,
We've all been there. We've all been there, or hugging the toilet.
Yeah,
screaming for an ex-girlfriend.
Oh my god,
not all of us have been there.
Daisy.
Well, then I guess then the second part of that is what are you kind of going to have that same speculative parenting approach?
Definitely. Okay. Honestly, because I don't like to be strict. I mean, obviously you want to be a little shit and get yourself in trouble or whatever, or do something to get yourself in trouble. Then I'm going to I might be an asshole.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to, if you want to have fun, if you're going to do something like that, just ask me. You don't have to hide it from me or any of that.
Yeah.
Because I would much rather you be, in the comfort of your own home where you're safe and nothing's going to happen to you. Have your fun.
Yeah. Well, we absolutely looked back at some of the numbers, and though girls are more likely to drink, you have some limitations on what you can do and help control your daughter and I don't want to say control, but help, influence your daughter in very righteous choices here. So how are you going to help yourself, and how are you going to help her, in that limited time you have her, and to help yourself relieve those worries you're going to have, knowing that she's just statistically higher to drink more than boys at the ages of 12 to 17?
Honestly, I really don't know. Because for one, with me and my ex-wife being, doing all the co-parenting and everything, and I'm not trash talking or anything like that, but there's not much communication between me and my ex-wife.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's trash talking. I just think that's calling it what the situation as it is.
But the fact that the communication really isn't there, it's a bit scary. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how she is when I'm not around or whatever. So I don't know what things that she's influencing on her and this and that. I don't know if she's having ragers in her house and shit like that on the weekends. Or whatever. I really hope not. But
you can't stop her. But still.
But the fact that I do have to sit back and think about hey, when she gets to the teenage years and her making all these friends up there and hanging out with everybody up there where my ex-wife is, I don't know who she's hanging out with. I don't know what she's doing, where she's going. I'm not told anything, So it's a little tough, and I honestly haven't quite figured out how I'm going to handle it yet. So,
fortunately, you're still years down the road from that. So I don't think you should fret too much. But
no. I'm not really too worried about it right now.
And I hope, optimistically speaking, that later on down the road, when she's getting to be 12, 13, 14 years old, I hope for your sake and your ex-wife's sake that there's just more communication. And I think it could naturally occur that way, because you'll be so far removed from everything. And even though it's almost 2 years now, a year and a half, it's still kind of relatively fresh in the eyes of, your life.
Yeah.
So,
well, it also comes down to she's very Addison is very communicative to me.
Okay.
So
well, that's good.
I'm not too worried about, when it comes to my daughter's sake, because I know she tells me a lot. So she more than likely, hopefully, will tell me these things. We don't know how teenage girls are, but,
Yeah, you can only hope, man. Good luck with that one. Let me know how that goes for you, because yours will be a teenager before mine, so my daughter, at least. I just got to deal with a boy who's going to be going through puberty, and we all know what that's like.
Now, with us talking about all these percentages and everything, there's a huge percentage of parents who like to indulge in a few alcoholic beverages while they are at home or even out in public with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle having a drink or two when you've got the kids around? Are you a lot more, cautious? Do you get a little more relaxed? Because I know a handful of parents who would really frown upon even the thought of having a drink or even maybe a toke.
The toke, yeah. No comment on that one. I guess to answer the question directly first, I'm not shy. I'm not going to shy away from having a beer or two in front of my kids. I will say though, I kind of mitigate how frequently I have it and throughout that day, we'll say. So just a hypothetical situation, getting close to the evening, sometimes if I'm like grilling, if we're having burgers or whatever on the grill, or just outside, I'll just grab a beer. And that beer will last me an hour or 2 hours. I got a nice, awesome insulated koozie that I keep my beer in, and it's 2 hours later, that thing is still cold. So,
dude, you can't cook shit on the grill without having a beer.
Exactly. It's kind of. Are you even grilling if you don't have a beer in your hand?
Are you even a dad if you're not drinking a beer and cooking something on the grill? I mean,
so I think it's a natural occurrence, and I'm not going to stop myself. I'm not going to be that person to, oh my God, I can't have any alcoholic beverages in front of my kids because God forbid if they see me drinking it.
Yeah, because then in a sense you kind of seem like you're stuck up.
Not even that. I think you're creating so much of a taboo element to it.
Yeah.
That it's almost, especially when they get to the ages of 12 to 17, when they become rebellious, it's like, what's so taboo about this?
Yeah,
I'm going to do it. Screw you, mom and dad. I'm drinking a beer.
Yeah, they get experimental on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, ooh, I'm doing it. Ooh, I feel so bad.
I'm a big tough guy now. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, absolutely. I think if you taboo it completely, it could have a potential. I'm not saying it's always going to or it always will, but I do think that there could be an element of, the reversal of what you're looking for that occurs. So tonight, just to kind of summarize everything, you want to, going back to the data dump, I guess in life as an adult, just strive to make as little money as possible so you never have to face alcohol problems. You know what I'm saying? You might have other problems, but hey, jokes aside. Drinking in front of your little ones is in front of or out of sight seems to have little to no influence in either or. Ultimately, it comes down to regulating your own consumption and mitigating the negative behaviors of that alcohol in front of them.
And being an adult, a responsible adult.
Don't let these numbers paralyze you, though, and just maintain enough self-awareness and mindfulness when you drink and have an understanding of the effects it may have and the understanding that it's going to affect you differently than other people.
Yeah.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
Without providing you anything on educating your little ones about alcohol, it's probably a safe assumption that educating your little ones will help prepare them for adulthood, much like any other subject. So, sorry we're not able to provide you with anything, but at least making them aware of what it is, you're probably not going to mess them up. It's time for some situations, Josh. What do you got for us?
All right, so the first one is Alcohol is No Excuse. It's by Carrie. This was back in January of 2023. It says, today after spending thousands on 4 failed IVF attempts, my husband of 3 years told me he had a drunken one-night stand last month with his ex, who he said he hasn't spoke to in years. She is pregnant with his baby. There goes our future together. I thought trust and being honest meant something, but obviously not.
Well, I don't know.
He got somebody fucking pregnant.
Yeah. Sorry.
It might not have been you, but he did.
Oh, God, man. Woo.
This next one is called The Cruel Trick. It's by Anonymous. It says, Oh, and this one was in Budapest. Wow, look at that shit. It says, today, it's my 1-year anniversary of being sober. For the occasion, my father decided to spice up my non-alcoholic cocktail with booze. I didn't realize and drank it. FML.
That's
fucked up, man.
That's really fucked up.
It's
fucked up.
Yeah. That's fucking sad.
That's dark. That is not funny.
Twist in my sobriety by Anonymous in the United States. Today, my group of friends officially cut ties with me. According to them, my girlfriend has me whipped and made me boring. All because she helped me break free from my alcoholism and finally get sober. 2 years and 8 months running. They told me to call them when I'm ready to be fun again. FML.
Well, I'm sorry for laughing, but that last part, ready to be fun again. Oh, man, that sucks. Just get some new friends.
And the last one, The Next Day Hangover by Can't Handle Alcohol. Today, I got drunk enough to do cartwheels at a company party in a dress. I work in HR. Can't land a cartwheel or handle my alcohol.
You are going to be the subject of conversation for quite some time.
Yes.
But speaking of conversation, you guys should definitely engage in some conversation with us. And by doing that, you can reach us on all of our social media platforms, which is facebook.com/thedadtapes, Instagram, which is @thedadtapes, and Twitter @thedadtapes. Just please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a freaking review of the show wherever you listen to podcasts, guys. Come on. It helps us out.
Don't forget to rewind the tape before boxing it back up.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
Stop being that guy.
All right, guys. Peace.
Have a good week.